I have 2 words for you. Counter programming. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Kevin Zwicker from Fast Count coming at you. And before I get into this video, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe. If you guys don't know, September 20th is AEW All Out weekend. And if you've been paying attention for the last several AEW pay-per-views, you have noticed that WWE has attempted to counter program them with a show of their own. And that weekend looks to be no different. And if you believe the reports that are coming out of WrestleVotes, the WWE show that will be counter programming All Out will be WrestlePalooza. If you guys aren't familiar, that is the name of an old ECW pay-per-view, and that is rumored to be the show that we are going to get Brock Lesnar going up against John Cena. Now, this is something that has been going on for the last several pay-per-views, as I mentioned. And this ongoing war between AEW and WWE is something that has been happening since the beginning of time. If you guys have been paying attention, you saw Triple H take a shot at AEW and call them a pissant company when DX went into the Hall of Fame. You saw Tony Khan go on the NFL Network and call them the Harvey Weinstein of professional wrestling. And we have been going back and forth ever since day one in AEW between the two companies. Now, I think even the most hardened AEW fan can admit that AEW isn't the same threat to WWE as WCW was, right? We can all agree that there's no chance that AEW is going to put WWE out of business. I believe personally that there is a competition between the two. I think they compete for free agents. I think that they compete for headlines. Obviously, they share the same space. WWE is probably going to get the most, opportunities due to the fact that there's a lot more brand recognition and a lot more mainstream attention to them than there is AEW. But they do compete in similar situations business-wise, right? But for me, this is a bit different. This weekend that we're talking about, if we're going to sit there and talk about show quality-wise, gun to my head, I'm going to assume AEW is going to put a better show than WWE is going to put on that weekend. But most people coming out of that weekend, if we are getting it John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, that is going to be the match that most people are going to be talking about, right? Due to the fact that, whether you like Brock or not, he is a talking point. This is John Cena's retirement tour. This is a match that we haven't seen in about 10 years. So headline-wise, that is going to be the match that we're going to be talking about. And that is probably WWE's main objective going into that weekend, is to have AEW be an afterthought when it comes to that weekend and have people talk about their show more. What's so interesting to me is, WWE has said multiple times that they don't view AEW as a threat. And I believe that to an extent. What I think bothers them the most is the fact that they are the number 2 company, and it's a number 2 company that they cannot control. Tony Khan, he's been in positions to where, he has gotten to the point where when free agents are up, he can throw the exact same amount of money that WWE can throw at the same time. And I think that bothers WWE, that they have to, in their eyes, overpay certain talents to retain them instead of for practices that they were able to do prior to AEW, to where it's basically take it or leave it. You're not going to be able to make any comparable money any other way, right? And I think that's what really bothers them most. And I think the fact that now that they're bolstering up TNA, which, if you be real and really pay attention to it, if there was a scenario where, there was no AEW, do you really think that they'd be partnering up with TNA or buying AAA? WWE historically has not been able to play well with others. So I think that this is just a way that they're going to be able to, especially if TNA is able to land a better TV deal, I think that this is a way to not take AEW out of business, but to draw attention away from them, which I think is their main objective when it comes to making these partnerships with these other companies and to counter program with them. What makes this different than the prior attempts to counter programming is the fact that this is a main roster show, and that really feels as if WWE is trying to put their boots on the necks of Tony Khan and AEW. If you guys remember the All Out media scrum where CM Punk, went freaking postal. You remember when this was the beginning of WWE attempting to counter program AEW, and you saw Tony Khan go ballistic, talking about how he now knows how Crockett felt But the difference between this and then is he has a lot more money than Crockett, and he says he's not going to take this shit. And he says he has, tricks up his sleeve. And I don't know what tricks the guy would have up his sleeve to where if WWE decided they wanted to unload the big guns, he'd be able to counteract that. But if there's a scenario where he is in that mode and has those capabilities, right now might be the time, because I don't believe that this is going to be the last time WWE decides that they're going to bring the big guns against AEW. And there's no way in my mind that WWE will have the capability of taking AEW out of business. AEW is going to go as long as Tony Khan decides to pour money into it. But with them and their new partnership with TNA, there's a possibility that they could land on a network like the CW. They have this relationship with NBC Universal. They have this relationship now with ESPN and maybe Netflix, all these different streaming services, all these different options to where they can place TNA. And the more that they're able to have their properties, tied up with different corporations, the less options it gives AEW if something goes on with Warner Brothers Discovery. And I think that that's the way that WWE wants to do it. I think they're very aware of that. And I think that their plan is to potentially, if they can, if there's a scenario where AEW is not on Warner Brothers Discovery, WWE plans to make it as difficult as they possibly can to where AEW is able to land anywhere else. And I think that this is all a part of the master plan. And it's mainly tied up to the fact that, in my mind, they dislike the fact that they have a number two corporation out here when it comes to wrestling, and they're not able to control it. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If this show is going down on September 20th, are you going to be watching WrestlePalooza, or are you going to be watching AEW All Out? Are you going to watch both? Let me know in the comment section, guys. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe. I am Kevin Zwicker.